Hello everyone, this is DJ and welcome to another episode of RC Retirement. Today I've got a response to a viewer's question. A viewer left me a message on SpeakPipe a little while ago asking if I would talk about how to buy military service credit into the Federal Civil Service Retirement System, specifically the Federal Employees Retirement System, FERS. I thought this was a good idea. It's a little outside of my lane, but there are a lot of people who go from military service into civil service and would like to be able to buy their service credit into that other retirement system if that option is allowed. So here are some notes on just how that would work on the Federal Employees Retirement System. This is not going to be in depth, but it will be a good primer for you. And I've got a little bit of extra info about it at the end of this episode, so please stick around. Alright, so as a general rule, military service in the armed forces is creditable for retirement purposes if it was active service under Title 10, not Title 32 for National Guard, and was performed prior to, your separation from service was honorable or under honorable conditions, and you performed prior to your separation from civil service. So keep those things in mind. I doubt there's anyone in this audience who served prior to 1957. If so, then congratulations for being technologically adept, because there are some who are not. Alright, so we're only going to talk about service after 1950 or January 1st, 1957 or forward, and more specifically, I am only going to talk about service from 1991 and forward, because for some other things I'm going to mention, it's a lot simpler that way. Alright, now notice I said buy back in the beginning. You don't just automatically get credit for military service when you go into the FERS system. In fact, if you are receiving an active duty retirement of certain types, you can't credit it at all unless you waive that retirement. And I'm going to mention that some of those specifics right now. So look at my notes here. Alright. In fact, from one of the Office of Personnel Management websites, OPM, it says you cannot receive credit for any military service in your FERS retirement computation if you are receiving military retired pay, unless you were awarded the retired pay, 1, due to a service-connected disability either incurred in combat or with an enemy of the United States. Drop the or, I put that in too soon. Or caused by an instrumentality of war and incurred in the line of duty during a period of war. Or under the provisions of Chapter 1223, Title 10, pertaining to retirement from a reserve component of the armed forces. So basically, if you're receiving an active duty retirement and it's not from combat injuries or combat related injuries, and it's not a reserve retirement, then the only way you can get credit for that in the Federal Employees Retirement System is to waive your retired pay, your military retired pay. Now, whether this is a good option for you or not, you'll really need to sit down and crunch some numbers and find that out. If you want to waive your military retired pay to receive credit for military service in the FERS system, then all you really need to do is write a letter to the Defense Finance and Accounting Service and also notify OPM of your decision. and I will put the specific suggested format of that request. It's very short. I'll put that specific format in the show notes so that you can find it. I'll also put the address where you can send it and a number to which it could be faxed as well. I'm still amazed people use fax anymore. Bit of trivia, that's technology from the 1860s. We've had fax capability for that long. All right, moving on. So if you do want to buy if you do want to buy military service into your FERS retirement, then obviously you've got to have some money available, or they'll deduct it from your current pay, either way. So the simple term to keep in your head is 3% of military base pay. Now it fluctuates a little bit for 2 or 3 years. In fact, 99 and 2000 it was something other than 3%. But just as a simple rule, 3% of your military base pay for the time that you're wanting to have credited is what you will need to pay, plus interest, to your FERS retirement system. Notice I am only talking about FERS, not the civil service retirement system, which is the old version, and I'm going to skip CSRS entirely. Alright, so moving on in the notes. Alright, I'll touch on one thing. If you are trying to credit military service into CSRS, then it's 7% of base pay. Alright, now that is the gist of the crediting. You do have to have this payment made entirely before you separate from service. Not when you try to receive retired pay on the civil service side, but before you separate from civil service employment. So keep that in your head. And I have actually developed a calculator that can help you get a very good estimate of what the civil service deposit will be. In fact, here's another bit of trivia for you. If you are currently employed as a civil servant under FERS and you are mobilized for active duty, let's say you're deployed for a year or two, you can have that military service credited into your FERS retirement at 3% of base pay, or you can compute what you would have contributed into the FERS system from your own civilian salary, and if that is lower, you can pay that amount. Yes, for those who don't know, if you are a federal employee, you actually contribute a percentage of your your salary into the retirement system. For most employees, or those employees hired before 2013, the amount was 0.08%, or 0.8%, not 0.8, 0.8%. And it's gone up for employees hired since then. The current percentage is 4.4%. And as far as that calculator I have mentioned, I'm going to have a demo video of that coming up in a day or two. That will be available for purchase from this site. I've put a lot of time in developing this, so I will ask for a small amount of compensation if you want to use it, but it's not going to be much. Probably $4 or $5, something like that. And I have intentionally designed it so that it, in some cases, could estimate a little bit high on the civilian pay contribution side and salary side. So it's always better to have a slightly higher number in your head, and then when you get the actual number, it's not going to be a disappointment. I do just the opposite when I'm computing retired pay. I'd rather compute low and you get a higher number, but as far as amounts you might owe, I'd rather compute high and then let you get a pleasant surprise of it being a little bit lower. Now keep in mind that interest does accrue on these deposits, so the calculator does figure that into the pie as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show you one part of that calculator. And right here you can see an example tab of that calculator and a lot of the entries that would be needed for it. There is a lot that has to go into this, and you can read the instructions for it later. But then when I click over to the results tab, you can see there that it gives you a very simple, easy to understand number once you've finished inputting all the data. And just a hint, if you are going to use this calculator, don't touch anything that is shaded. Only input things in the white cells, because shaded areas are where the formulas are. If you type into a formula area, you're going to mess things up. I'm going to try to protect those cells, but we'll see how that works. All right, so that's the down and dirty on buying military service credit. It can be done. In some cases, you do have to waive your military retired pay to do so, and whether that is the best thing for you is your decision. Some people do, some people don't. But I would definitely say if you are a current federal employee and you get mobilized for a short or long term of active duty and have a DD-220 or a DD-214 as a result, then definitely go ahead and buy your service time back. You might as well fill in all the gaps of your federal employment. I was a federal employee at one time and mobilized for over 2.5 years, almost 3 years, and due to some weird circumstances did not buy my service credit back. So slap myself for that. So lesson learned, take that knowledge and make use of it yourself. And if you know anyone who could benefit from this episode, please be sure to share it. As always, like, share, subscribe for everything. The numbers, the subscriber numbers are going up, and I do appreciate that. Looks like I'm going to meet one of my goals this year, so I'm very enthused about that as well. And thank you for that. That's all because of you guys. All right, so again, if this is something useful to you, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and share this with others who could benefit from it. If you have any questions about this episode, you can leave them in the comments, or you can email me at dj@rcretirement.com. And if you would like to support my ongoing educational efforts with this channel, then I invite you to go to patreon.com/rcretirement and sign up at any of the pre-established rates, or you can create one of your own. Either way. In fact, by the end of today, I'm going to also have a PayPal link set up on the site. So if you would like to make a one-time contribution to the cause, you'll be able to do so there as well. All right, so that's all I've got for today. As always, I do appreciate you spending your time with me as part of this audience, and hope that I have continued to measure up to your expectations of me. Please join me next time, where I'll be covering another topic, hopefully in plain English, as I like to do, and we'll make things better for all service members out there. Thanks again, and thank you for your service. Have a great day. If you liked what you heard on today's episode, then please go below and give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to this channel. Also, please let other people know about this channel and the information it can provide for them. If you have questions or comments, then please have no qualms about posting them in the comments section below. Please remember the RC Retirement YouTube channel and the RC Retirement website are not recognized or endorsed by the Department of Defense, the Department of Veterans Affairs, or any other government agency. The information presented in these resources are for entertainment and informational purposes only. Also, the content of either of these resources should not be considered financial or legal advice. Please consult with your own legal counsel, accountant, or financial planner before making any decisions based on what you have learned here. As always, thank you for watching the RC Retirement YouTube channel.